Welcome to FEO on the Air, the voice of the festivals and events industry in Ontario. This week, it's Festivals Helping Festivals SOS. Share our stories with your host, Marnie Lapierre.
Well, good morning, everybody. I do see that there are some still connecting, but that's okay. We're going to get started because this is being recorded, and if you miss anything, you'll be able to catch it on the flip side, as they say. My name is Marnie Lapierre. I am the Vice President of Festivals with Festivals and Events Ontario. And I have been in this industry longer than I can imagine. I've been involved with very many events to the point where I now have my own business called Northern Events and Tourism Consulting because I love this industry so much that I decided to stay permanently in it, crazy as I am. I'd like to introduce to you today Pat Silver from Sing Toronto. And Pat is here today with so much wonderful information to share with us about her festival and everything that goes along with it. I say we're never too old to learn anything new as I sign up for more courses and make sure that I catch the podcast here because, oh my goodness, a wealth of knowledge, more than any university education you could possibly hope to gain. So, Pat, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'd like you to tell us about yourself, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of all the questions I've got.
Thank you so much, Marnie. It's a pleasure to be here. I have been in the festivals and events industry since 1980. I started my own company called Sphere Entertainment, and we provided entertainment for festivals around the world, not just in Canada, but around the world. And was a producer. I managed a lot of groups. I'm also a musician, like myself personally. I'm an award-winning musician, composer. We have a gold record. It's somewhere behind me on the wall, and have been involved in doing humanitarian work and volunteer work for my entire life. And it's a pleasure to be working with our festival.
That is fabulous. I've heard a lot about Sing since the very beginning, and to have you captured here today is so exciting to me because I made a list of questions. I don't know if we'll get through all of them,
Sure.
but I may follow up later on in an email if that's okay with you.
Of course.
I think you're much like myself. You're impassioned about the project, so um, turning it off at some point is going to be so hard for me. So I'll do my best, and I thank you for your patience.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. So, what inspired the organization to start Sing, and how have you found that it's evolved over the years? Kind of a
This
two-parter.
this started, by the way, my great thanks to Festivals and Events Ontario. We have been members from day one of this festival, and I have to say it's been really helpful in guidance, in getting to know other people in the festivals industry. You work as an island. Each of us works individually, but when you have a chance to connect with other planners and talk to people and get ideas, share ideas like what's happening on this podcast, it's so valuable. So I really thank Festivals and Events Ontario for providing the platform and providing the opportunity to connect, and for my award, which was the Hall of Fame this year, which was so great. So how did this start? It was serendipity. The group called Countermeasure. There are 12 amazing a cappella singers run by my son, J.M. Erlinson, came to me and said, we really want to start an a cappella festival. There's nothing like this in Canada. I said, go, you guys have a good time. Go ahead. And then I met with Paul Ryan, who was the manager of the Nylons. The Nylons were the iconic,
Yes.
for 25, 30 years, a cappella performers in Canada, the biggest name in a cappella, and one of the biggest names in the world in a cappella. And Paul Ryan and I just had a very chance meeting at Canadian Music Week, and he said, the Nylons have always wanted to start an a cappella festival. And I said, oh, that's nice. So we got together with J.M. Erlinson and with Paul Ryan and myself, and the three of us put our ideas on the table and said, you know what, we could do this. Nobody else is doing it. There have been attempts, but not like this. And we saw a need. There was no hub for these a cappella singers. There were a lot of a cappella singers in Canada, a lot of groups, but no place for them to connect, no place for them to share ideas, share arrangements, understand how to work together, and to bring in large names from around the world to inspire others. So we really saw that there was a need in the a cappella landscape and said, let's see what happens. So we assembled a dream team. There were 7 of us. We each put $1,000 on the table and said, let's see if we can make it happen. If we don't get our money back, we tried. And if we get our money back, we'll make a decision. One of our dream team board members had a connection to Harborfront Center in Toronto, and they said, sure, we'll give you the space and you can try it and see what happens. We'll give you 3 days. And we did it, and we didn't die.
That is amazing.
So
What
we're now in
great support.
yeah, we're heading into year 14. I will say we met with someone from our Ontario Arts Council while we were putting this together originally. And he said, you know, you won't survive the first year. Nobody does. And we said, okay, you've thrown the gauntlet. Watch us. And we did. And as I said, we're now in year 14.
Challenge accepted and surpassed all expectations. I mean, you're one of the most prominent events that happens in Ontario, and it's something that, you know, when you think about it, when it does come to music, anybody can do it. Maybe not at the same levels as others, but it's that one thing that everybody can try to do. And I think that that's a great way to bring people together and sing. Like, oh, I just love this concept.
We
Uh,
have literally hundreds of singers in our festival. And as you say, singing is universal. It transcends language, it transcends culture. It doesn't matter how old you are. We've got kids as young as 8. We've got seniors, I don't know, maybe up to 80 are singing with us. And and they can all be in the same group. It's just music. And you don't need any equipment. You don't need anything special. You have your body, you have your voice, and now you're a singer.
Oh, it's amazing. I've been at events where things have taken over, where the group starts to sing, and it always gives me shivers, like in a good way. And it to be able to be part of something like this on this scale is just, I think it's absolutely stellar. And what a great way to showcase the talent in our province. I think it's amazing. And talking about showcasing, uh, do you have any memorable moments from the event over the years that may stand out against other ones? Funny or heartwarming or something that was just so impactful.
Well, I will tell you that we do a lot of work with education because it's great that we have our singers, but what happens in 20 years or 10 years? So we have a really strong education program for kids who are coming up through music. And the teachers tell us it's life-changing for these kids, what we're doing. They work with our headliners. Imagine that you're a 13-year-old aspiring singer and you're in the same room as Naturally Seven or Take Six, some of the greatest in the world, or the Nylons, and you get a chance to find out what's the magic behind what they do and try it. And the messages are wonderful. So some memorable moments. Take Six, the most awarded vocal group in history, has played our festival twice. The second time they played, we got a call on a Thursday night. Their event was supposed to be Saturday, saying, we're really sorry, but one of our members has COVID. This was just, on the cusp of the COVID pandemic, and we can't come. So that was a challenge. We had to cancel the concert. I mean, that was it. There's nothing we could do about it. And we rescheduled them for coming back 2 months later in July. And that they played to a sold out house. And one of the pieces they did was from Africa. And it's a piece they don't usually do, but it was something special that they wanted to present. At the end of that song, there was dead silence in the room, and people were crying. They were so moved by what these guys had done. It was phenomenal. And about 2 months later, I turned on the television and I saw a special honoring Paul Simon. And who was on that but Take Six, singing the song they
Oh,
had done for us.
oh, that's so amazing.
And
Oh,
at the end of the special, Paul Simon and it was a who's who, Elton John, and I can't remember who else, but like really big stars honoring him. And he called out Take Six and said that was the song that really meant a lot for him. So it meant a lot to us as well.
Oh,
Um, a couple of other things that have really been standouts. We do a lot of collaboration with local talent and international headliners. And that's so important that our local singers get a chance to not only work with these international stars, but get exposure to them and get opportunities. So we had Countermeasure, who's the 12 voice a cappella group from Toronto, on the same bill as the Swingles. The Swingles, for those of you who don't know them, they've been around for 50 years. It was started by Ward Swingle in France. They were called the Swingle Singers. Now they're called the Swingles. They were, again, one of the biggest names in the world in music, much less a cappella. So we brought them to Toronto 3 times to be headliners in our festival, always sold out, incredible singers. So we had a collaboration with the Swingles and Countermeasure where they were on the same bill. Countermeasure opened for the Swingles, and the finale was a song that they did together. Well, the Swingles were so impressed with what they heard that they offered them a spot at the London A Cappella Festival in London, England. And as a result, that propelled them to a tour of the UK, which then landed them another tour that took them to Edinburgh, to the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, and to Italy for Vocalmente, where they opened the Vocalmente Festival in Italy for 1,000 people in a moat of a castle. And all of this because it started at Sing, and they had this opportunity to show what they could do.
wow. That is what an experience to be able to provide that.
Yep. And the other one I want to mention, one of the things that they talked about when I got my wonderful Hall of Fame award was the out of the box thinking. During COVID, we never stopped. I know that a great percentage of festivals had to close because they just couldn't operate. We figured out a way to pivot, which was the word of the day, and do things online. And one of the things we did was we commissioned 3 films. Now that seems like counterintuitive when we are an a cappella festival, but we had some funding from Canada Council through a program called Digital Now, and said, what if we make a cappella films? Nobody's ever done it. There's never been an a cappella film festival because you don't think of it that way. So we commissioned 3 different filmmakers and a composer and groups and said, we want you to make a collaborative program. It's not a music video and it's not a film. It is a collaboration piece of art. And they made 3 films, very different. The theme was challenge and resilience. And one of them was an animated piece about Peter Eager, a very, very famous athlete who climbed Mount Lefroy, which is the mountain that you can see in the work of Lauren Harris. And it's a very difficult climb. A lot of climbers don't survive it. What he did doing that and then coming down, but it was cute. It was an animated piece with a little chicken on his back, which of course they don't do, but this chicken emerged from the backpack, and that was voiced by quite a famous comedian in Canada. So that but the point of the film was pursue your dreams. You can do whatever you really want to do. There was a film about an elderly woman who was a hoarder and having to deal with leaving her things behind, and how did she do that? And the third film was based on the story of Nelson Mandela and his challenges, and it was done through dance and through singing. And the films were wonderful. We put on a one-day festival called Acapella Film Festival and launched them and thought, well, this is great. We've done what we wanted to do. And then we had a little bit of budget left over and gave it to one of our filmmakers and said, can you get us into other film festivals? These are films. Let's see they're short films. Let's see what we can do. To this date, they have been seen by 8 million people worldwide.
Wow.
8 million. That's how many people have heard our a cappella singers in their films, whether it's India, across Europe, across the United States, across Canada. We are now giving opportunity to the filmmakers and to the singers. And that to me has been just thrilling.
That is fantastic. What a concept. What a concept with such 3 very different panels to encourage the music for. That's just Wow, that is so far outside the box. And look what it's done. I mean, on so many levels, it's done things for your organization. It's done things for the event. It's done things for the province. It's done things for singers and people around the world. Like you, that ripple effect is outstanding. And definitely is a great example of why you deserved that award. I'm telling you, that is stellar. I love it. I love it. I,
Thank
I,
you.
I love seeing this kind of thinking.
Thank you. And I think the message is think bigger. Like what else can you do with your festival other than here's a stage, here are some performers.
Yeah.
That's great. People love that. But where else can you make an impact? And I will tell you that Kalia Scott Grimes, who was one of the directors, ended up winning the top award as a woman filmmaker at an event at TIFF, not the official,
Wow.
like a TIFF event. And that was from this film. So how can you help your artists and your community through the festival that you stage? What else can you provide to them that doesn't necessarily cost money, but can provide opportunity?
Exactly. Sometimes opportunity leads to those paying opportunities as well. You know, that awareness, the branding, the absolute joy from sharing all of this will definitely have impact going down the road. I know I'm inspired right now. You've got my wheels turning, and that doesn't take much, as the gang from FEO knows. I, I get running with those ideas, but you know what? It is the time for that. You know, we've had cookie cutter events for a long time, and that pivot that COVID threw at us gave us a reprieve to sit back and think, what new things could we add in, you know, and keeping things fresh for the attendees, for the people that are participating as actual presenters and performers. You know, that creative challenge that gets those juices flowing to bring something new to the scene is so important. You know, we got to a level, now we're hitting those higher levels. One of our board executive, her mantra is aim high, go higher, and this is exactly what you did. And I must tell Louise, she's got a beautiful example now that she can use.
I have my undergraduate degree in music from Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri, and their mantra is dream up.
Oh,
I love that.
I like that. I like that. I love all the positive things to keep you uplifted and motivated. It's important. It's important in this industry. So we've touched on the artists, and how do you get Sing to engage with local community and promote cultural diversity? Has that been something that's changed over time for the event, or has that been something from the get-go?
Thank you. We have always reached into the community. So what you will see at our festival is a combination of community groups and also the professionals. So for instance, our final night gala is the opening night of Pride. It's June 1st. So we're connecting with the Pride organization and the Pride community. We are doing a phenomenal, please come if you're in Toronto, concert with a group called On That Note. They identify as a queer choir from Toronto Metropolitan University. So there's the youth and community there. And they won a competition, a stairway competition where you sing in the stairwell. It's kind of fun
I've
last
seen
year.
these on TikTok. They're amazing. Some people have these gorgeous voices that
Yep.
just they belong on some kind of recorded device. I'm just saying.
Yep. And they were fantastic. So they won the spot to open the show. And then the other artists on the shows, they're called the Kinsey Six, and they call themselves Dragapella. They are in drag, four guys in drag who are very funny, very satirical. They're excellent singers. They've been touring for 30 years. This is, I think, the fifth time we've presented them in our festival. So diversity, I think so. And then singing with them is Stephen Page, who was formerly of the Bare Naked Ladies. He was formerly the lead singer, and he's the co-founder of the Bare Naked Ladies. So this is reaching into the community, reaching into the Pride community, reaching into the university community, and certainly celebrating the diversity we have there. We have many other artists that from various backgrounds. We have on our free stage a group called Ori Shalva, which sings the music, the Georgian polyphony music from Georgia across the world. Our first headlining concert, second headlining concert on May 25th is Black Umfolosi International. They originated in Zimbabwe, and they're now some of them living in Canada, and it is the music and the gumboot dances of Southern Africa. So it'll be just phenomenal, and people can probably get up and dance with them. I'm expecting they're going to move their audience and sing with them as well. But we do look to the community for opportunities. We work with Coro San Marco, which is an Italian choir that is a volunteer choir. We have many other groups that we bring in and give them opportunities. The Sunday Women's Choir is singing at our Nathan Phillips Square, and they are multicultural. So we look to our community to see who's out there that sings different kind of music. So we make sure that we are covering many, many cultural traditions, not only from our headliners, but certainly from our secondary performers and our programs that are provided free to the public.
Wonderful. That it's so important to embrace diversity because that brings creativity and experiences that, maybe we haven't been able to participate in. Last year, I run the Timmins Multicultural Festival, and for the first time, we brought in some talent that represented the continent of Africa. It has never been seen like that before in our community. We're pretty far north. We're a mining community, and we are now burgeoning with beautiful diversity. Restaurants are expanding, stores are, coming up with. It's just amazing, and to be able to bring the talent of the traditions from the different cultures is so important, and it expresses the diversity that's here in our community. And especially when you've got people from Ontario that are taking your stage. These are our friends and neighbors and family. And to see them sharing this cultural aspect is just absolutely wonderful. And what a great platform to bring it forward. Because everybody loves to sing. We all do it in our car, in the shower, if not in public. Not me. Oh gosh.
Thank
Now
you. I
that's
also want to mention that our board is gender balanced and it is culturally diverse.
oh
So we make
wow.
sure that we look like Canada as a board, and our festival looks like Canada.
Perfect. Perfect. I like hearing that. Ah. There are so many questions that I want to go through. I know we're not going to have enough time today, but here's a really good one. Strategies that you might have implemented to grow the festival's audience and reach some new demographics, because I think we're all at that point right now with our events that have been established for so many years that now we have to, aside from changing up programming, is who do we want to bring in to see what we're doing? Have you experienced anything new in that way or starting to plan it or like, no, we're good. We got everybody.
Well, I don't think we have everybody, although I will say singing is so universal that it does help us that we are niche in that we're a cappella, but we're not niche in the style of music. So we're not a jazz festival, we're not a classical festival, we're not a country festival. We are a singing festival, which gives us a lot of breadth. Partnerships are everything. So we
Yeah.
started working a couple of years ago with Beatbox Canada. We look to the future. We don't want to just have people that look like, me, I'm older, coming to our festival. We want the whole range of ages and interests to be part of what we're presenting. So we are working with Beatbox Canada, and they are generally a lot younger, the beatboxers, and they're amazing. This is the second year that they're putting on the Great North Battle, which is a 2-day beatbox competition. People are flying in from all over the world to be part of it because the winners qualified to be part of something called Swiss Beatbox, which is the largest beatbox competition in the world, seen by 500,000 people and broadcast from Japan. So the stakes are very high for those people, but it does bring us a new community. They're young, they're enthusiastic, they're pumped. We needed that new community. We also have partnered with Center 55 and other locations to present something called I Love to Sing, which is a program for kids. It's kids 8 to 14 who work with some of the top singing teachers in Canada. About usually it's about once a week or once every 2 weeks, to have a free program. We get this funded by the TELUS Community Foundation, Friendly Future Foundation, and others who provide the funding for us to be able to put this on. And this is working with the next generation of kids, and it's free for the kids to participate. And this year, again, those kids will be performing as part of our festival on the 24th of May at Kew Gardens in Toronto. So, how do you look further? We have partnered with Estonian Music Week. We have a concert as an Estonian Music Week concert on May 24th with the Estonian Voices jazz group from Estonia and Countermeasure from locally from Toronto, to again reach out to a new community that may not be our typical audience or our regular audience goers, to the Estonian community, to welcome them into sing. And a couple of years ago, we were part of Jewish Music Week with the Ruach singers, who are Torontonians, along with a group out of New York. So it's called 613. So again, we're reaching into further afield into other communities that may or may not be part of our core audience through these partnerships, to bring them into what we're doing. And our hope would be that if you go to C613 and Countermeasure, and they all sing in Hebrew, and it's wonderful, it's kind of contemporary a cappella, maybe we can persuade you to try something else. Maybe you'll come see Black Umphalosi this year, or you'll come see our Pride Month. So, I think partnerships are really a good way to reach out.
No, that's absolutely true, because sometimes those partnerships can boost an event so far and, provide for it what wasn't there before. I think that is one of the key things to the survival of any event, is really good partnerships. And those are amazing partnerships, and definitely speaks to the diversity that you offer. And, a cappella is just, I've heard so many different versions of it that it's eclectic. It's got so many offerings for every mood, and to be able to offer that is amazing. I love it. Can
Thank
you
you.
tell I'm a fan?
Hey, you got to come down from Timmins. It's going to be a great.
I would love to, but that weekend is also our multicultural festival weekend. That's when everything starts.
Well, I will tell you, you can see some things online. The other thing we're doing is going to the music community specifically. Go to singtoronto.com, you'll see everything. We have a business summit, and that is intended for musicians who have questions about AI and song and the music industry, about financial management, about how to get a gig on a cruise ship, how to get a gig singing in a studio, what kind of studio gear to buy. And all of that is free. They're online seminars over the lunch hour during our festival. So you don't have to be in Toronto. And if you can't see it in real time, you can see it'll still be online for a month. And that is part of our service to the music community. So again, it's another piece of outreach, and it makes us accessible to anyone in the world.
Talk about going above and beyond just your standard event. You guys are the whole package. You got everything. You've created this amazing formula that will ensure longevity of this. And I mean, events are a living animal. They grow, they shrink, they sidestep, and it's almost like a dance. And you've got that down with being able to provide all of this opportunity. Like that's a lot. You weren't kidding earlier when we had a little short discussion that it's a 12-hour day, 7 days a week, 365, right?
It definitely is, but all these opportunities come forward, and we really want to enhance the music community, as well as opportunities for the people who are not musicians, but to enjoy what we're presenting. So, and the other piece of partnerships is looking further afield. So I know that a lot of festivals have now, or organizations have partnered with others. We have a great partnership with Toronto Undergraduate Jazz, which is now called Emerging Artists Association, where we put on a summer festival with them at Ontario Place. This year it'll be the 26th of July. It'll be 3 of our a cappella artists and 3 of their young instrumental artists. That's a partnership that's I think in our 5th year doing that. And the other thing is that we've reached across Canada and across the world to other a cappella organizations. So we now have Sing in multiple cities. This is why it's 12-hour days. So we are seeing Edmonton, which was last week. They had 6 days, 16 groups, I believe, and workshops and performances, including community groups and headlining groups. That was Edmonton. We had Sing in Vancouver on the 9th of March with 3 headlining groups and 2 workshops. We have 4 cities in Texas where there's Sing festivals. We've had a Sing festival in Edinburgh, Scotland, and a Sing festival in Mexico. And
Wow.
all of this,
Oh, you had just come back from Mexico
yeah,
for the one night. I remember that.
flew back for one night for the Hall of Fame Award. Yes. But all of this is to broaden your base and to broaden the opportunities for artists. So and Sing Vancouver had a Toronto artist. And we've invited from Edmonton one of their key artists to come to Toronto. So we're looking further than locally. And it doesn't have to cost money to do that. You want to see who else is out there that wants to partner because it gives you promotional opportunities, gives you opportunities for your performers, and it also is great for your sponsors. We have Long McQuaid Music, who we love. They're a great music store. They're Canada's music store is been a long time sponsor, and they loved the idea of sponsoring in 3 cities because there are Long McQuaid stores in Edmonton and Vancouver and
Yeah.
Toronto. So they expanded their partnership with us because we could offer 3 cities, not just one. So think about what you can do wherever you are to offer something to a sponsor to go beyond your local area. Maybe if you're in Thunder Bay, maybe there's something in Dryden or there's something somewhere else where you can share some of the knowledge, share some of the performers, share some of the platforms, and sponsors would find that they have a greater benefit.
That's true. That's true. And sometimes you get the most unexpected partnerships out of it,
Yeah.
just by having those conversations. Has there been one partnership that has stood out that made all the difference in the world for you?
Oh, TD Bank. Thank you, TD. They have been with us since I'm going to say probably 9 or 10 years. And obviously they believe in what we do. I mean, they are the Bank of Music and we are a music festival, and they have just been so fabulous in supporting us.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I've worked with the TD Bank for our event, and they have supplied us with some of the most amazing volunteers that are energetic and so happy to be out there doing their thing. That it was a wonderful partnership. So I love hearing that you're in with them too.
Well, I also want to single out TELUS. TELUS gives us a lot of volunteers because we are during what's called the TELUS Month of Giving. And TELUS is very tuned into community participation, and they encourage their employees to participate in community events. So we have a lot of volunteers from TELUS, and they have been fantastic.
Oh, that's great to hear. I love it because those are the people that are working in the community that are supporting the event that, it shows again how the community rallies behind something that they love. And it's great to see that that continues, not just in my community, but in all the rest of them. That helps us all shine a little bit more, right? That is wonderful. Um, Let me see. Technology, how has that influenced how you plan and execute the event? Have you made any big changes during that whole pivot thing where we had all time to research this stuff?
Well, I mean, the technology really was useful during COVID. Because we are an a cappella festival, we don't require much in the way of technology, you have just microphones. So it's pretty simple. And, certainly the back end technology, thanks to our guru whiz guy, David Lane, who does all of our website and contracting and all the other things that have to be done through technology he's invaluable. But that I think where we really employed the technology was how to survive COVID. We initially reached out to groups around the world and said, can you send us existing video? And or to choirs, can you make the heads and boxes videos that people were doing at the initial COVID, where everyone recorded something at home and it got added together. Jordan Travis did a lot of that. He's in the barbershop community, one of the leaders in the world, and we did a lot of that kind of collaborative singing. And then the following year, you still couldn't go into a theater with people in the theater, but you could go into a theater with 10 people. So we rented a theater and we went in and filmed concerts. So we'd have a total of 10 people in the building, including the film crew and the performers. We'd put them on stage and film their performances, and then that would be our festival. So you would see the concert that you would have gone to live, only you're seeing it on the screen because we're still not able to go into theaters. And we did that around the world. We had groups from, I believe we had Rioton in Sweden, and we had a group from in Cuba do the same thing. They went into their own facilities, filmed a concert, and provided it for us. And then that's what we broadcast. So that's where the technology was helpful.
I love it. A lot of different organizations did that to ensure that, people were still staying engaged and that the artists were still getting the work, as much as possible. I know it hit anybody that hits the stage pretty hard. So having that opportunity, and since then, technology has definitely launched like a rocket into what you can do for an event now. We had that couple of years where it was all virtual. Now we can offer hybrid options, which expands, who's getting to see the talent even more so if that's an option for an event. I think it's definitely changed the way we do some of the things we do for events now. And it's good to see that there was such great participation from across the globe.
Oh yeah,
That was
absolutely.
wonderful.
And we did have, and also technology in terms of live streaming. We've done a lot of live streaming. Last week was Sing Edmonton, and they live streamed their headlining concerts on the weekend, and it was fantastic that they could do that. So if you couldn't be there in person, you could buy a live stream ticket, and watch the whole festival.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I love. Okay, so I don't think I have too many more, but one thing that kind of struck me, because you've got this wonderful portfolio of artists who have been on the stage for you. How are you finding them? Are they contacting you? Are you reaching out? Are you part of like a trades industry magazine where you get to see all the different ones that are available to book? Or do you have like your personal favorites and you just call on, the way it goes, with events? I'm very curious. Or do you work with specific agencies that help provide them for you? Or is it all of that?
It's not all of that. There are no trad magazines in the acapella world. There's Acaville Radio, which is the acapella radio station, online radio station. But our artistic directors know the acapella community. That's why they're chosen as the artistic directors. So they've been great in reaching out and connecting us. We're well known now. We're one of the biggest acapella festivals in the world. So we get a lot of submissions. We have a submission form online where you can say that you'd like to be part of the festival, send all your materials. We do get a lot of submissions. Certainly, we know the biggest names in acapella, the Real Group, Rioton, Take Six, Naturally Seven, Swingles. I mean, we know these people. So it's not hard to decide who we want to have as an international headlining artist, the Kinsey Six. In terms of locally, we certainly reach out to the universities because the universities have a lot of acapella clubs, and we invite them to be part of our festival. It's important to do that. We'll go out to their events. The University of Toronto has what's called UTAC with the University of Toronto Acapella Coalition, and we'll go to their event and hear a number of their groups. And this year we are doing the first ever Sing Canada Canadian Acapella Championships.
Oh.
We've never done a competition, but if you think Canada's Got Talent or America's Got Talent, those shows, that's what we're doing. And we've sent that out far and wide to universities, to professional musicians, we advertise widely through social media, through our contacts in the music business. And we had a lot of people applying to be part of it. It's now whittled down to the top 10 groups in 3 categories. We have high school, collegiate, and what we call the open category, which is anybody who's not high school or collegiate. And this is on Friday night, May 30th at the Royal Ontario Museum, which is our new hub for our a cappella festival. And we've got cash prizes and trophies and recording sessions that they will win. So this is a way of also getting our message out and reaching out to more groups to have this competition. And if you're in Toronto, come. It's going to be pretty awesome. Our judges are Deke Sharon, who is the guy behind the Pitch Perfect movies and the Sing Off TV show. He's the most famous a cappella arranger, most prolific a cappella arranger in the world. He's a judge. Stacey Kay, who was a finalist on Canada's Got Talent, also was on America's Got Talent, phenomenal singer, rap artist.
We
Mika
had her
Barnes,
perform at FEO one year, and with the group that she was with.
A440.
Fantastic voice.
Yep, A440. She was with
Yeah.
A440. Mika Barnes, who is a renowned singer, phenomenal singer, and Dylan Bell, who co-wrote the book on arranging with Deke Sharon and is also a very, very busy a cappella performer with his wife Suba Shankran as free play. So those are the judges, and it's going to be quite an incredible evening. So how do we find people? They find us. And we find them.
You've got a great reputation, so you're where they want to be. You definitely.
Yeah.
It's a great thing for Canada, great thing for our province, most definitely. Oh, and just what you've done with it so far, I can't wait to see what else is going to come out with this. It's amazing.
We already have plans for 2026, but I can't reveal them yet.
I am not surprised because you always start planning before you've got the next one out of the gate. I know exactly what that's like.
Oh yeah, we already have a venue. I mean, you can't do it at the last minute. We know that we have to plan now.
Oh, definitely. Been there. So probably this will be the last question, and then we can open it up to the floor to ask questions. Okay, no, this is what I want to put. What advice would you give to someone looking to start a similar festival or event?
I think you have to find your place in the market. If don't replicate what someone else is doing because there's not that much room for it. That's my opinion. We are the only a cappella festival in Ontario, and one of the very few in Canada. There are vocal music festivals, a lot of choral festivals. This is not choirs. This is completely different. So we found a niche that we found a need and then filled it. And I think that's what I would look to your community is what's missing for that. Is there some kind of a cultural group that isn't being celebrated, but yet there are a lot of those people in your community that need a place to celebrate who they are. Yeah. And look to innovate. What isn't being done in the way of festivals? What can you do that people will say, really? What is that? Like the films, or Aaron Jensen, who was our artistic director emeritus, designed a keyboard that was installed at the Deaf Culture Center, where you sang into this thing and it came back and sang back at you. I cannot even describe it. It was some piece of technology. Like, what can you do that's different in a place that nobody expected it? That will make some heads turn and make people take a look at you.
I like that. And again, that fits to the outside of the box because we've done everything the same for decades. And it's, if you've got an idea, how do you make it fresher than the rest? Or, grow it a little bit by adding these neat components to it. I love the idea of that piano. That would be so much fun to see in action.
It was pretty wild. And where's there some unused space in your community?
Yeah.
Where Ontario Place is a really good example. They've closed pretty much everything because of redevelopment, other than the Budweiser stage, which of course is too big for what we do. But they do have Trillium Park, And Trillium Park is a legacy piece that will not change. And they're looking for programming to put in Trillium Park. And we looked for an opportunity for our singers to do something beyond just our festival at the end of May. So that's a great partnership. We partnered with Emerging Artists Association and Ontario Place to present. It's been different things. It's been a few days, it's been one day, but it's an opportunity to showcase some more music. So where is it in your community that you have underutilized facilities, underutilized spaces that you could develop something?
Oh, definitely. And there's a lot of opportunity because every community's got a space that's not being used and that has great potential to support the arts in some form, whether it's through festival, through music, through artistry. I mean, it's better to use that and enhance your community as opposed to just letting that shuttered building stay closed. And there's so much history in every community. There's got to be a space that could accommodate something like that. Sudbury, way up north here, our neighbors, a couple of years ago had this during COVID, a musical trail that you could follow. They would have bands and singers and didn't cost you anything. It was just a feel good thing. And you would get this map of where you could go and they would play at different times. And I thought that was what a great use of literally the community. You know, some were up on rocks, some were in parks, you know, some were at, tourism destinations. So it's thinking that way that helps keep it fresh and interesting and people coming back. And I think you guys have that on lockdown pretty good. Pretty
We
good.
try. You were mentioning it before we started the seminar that you do a lot of crochet, and I'm also a knitter. One of the people that I work with, not in a cappella, is Melanie Gall. She's a fantastic knitter, and she has a show of knitting songs. Who knew that there were songs about knitting? And she
I have
performs
no
that all
idea.
over the world. What if you had a knitting festival? I bet you that you'd have people
Oh
coming
my
out
gosh.
of the of knitting stores and just out of community centers and did something. They all sit around and knit, and some people sing songs about knitting. I mean, has anyone ever done that? Maybe in your community you have knitters. That's just, one example.
That's a great idea. We're going to talk after this.
I'll be there with my needles.
There we go. There we go. Okay, so it is quarter two, so I'm going to open the floor if anybody has any questions or comments or suggestions or anything like that. I'd love to hear it. You've got access to an expert right here, Pat, and you know, uh, let's see what's happening. And I apologize, my mouse died during our session today. I cannot access the chat, so I'm gonna have to ask you to go live. If you're shy, I'm sorry. Ah. Oh, Peter McCluskey from Garlic Fest. How you doing?
I'm good, but I since you were having problems with your mouse, I thought, oh, can I come up with some question? I don't know if I have a question yet, but I'm really inspired by Sing and everything I just heard, and there's similarities between Sing and the Garlic Festival because everyone uses garlic. Um, yeah, and so you asked me, but I didn't have a question yet, except that I really want to look closer to Sing and its evolution because I think there are a lot of things we can learn from you. We're also 14 years in, but we need to take some lessons um, from Sing and what you're doing there. So I potentially have a lot of questions soon, but I just don't have them yet, except that um, one thing that came up was when you pivoted during COVID. That was brilliant. And I'm wondering what would an event do to pivot without having an emergency like COVID? Sometimes an emergency makes us be innovative, but maybe we can not get too comfortable with where we are and we don't need a COVID to innovate. But it sounds like Sing is really good at innovating. And so it's very inspiring, and sorry for my lack of a real question.
Thank you. I will say that we started at 3 days and we are now 8 days, 9 days. I'm losing count. And it's a lot, and I'm not sure. I mean, we can't, it's like going to a buffet and you want everything. So we have never lately been figuring out how to be shorter than 9 days because there's so many things we want to present. But I think if you're growing a festival, one thing is don't go to a 9 or 10 day festival initially. Like start small and add days. That's what Edmonton did. Add other events, add days as you are able to sustain that. And finding new ways, pivoting just means figuring out how to be kind of innovative in your own area. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to cost more money. Like a new piece for us is the competition, which we are putting some money into because of the prizing. But it was just something that we saw in the market that was necessary. The in the a cappella groups compete worldwide, or I'm going to say North America, well, actually worldwide, in something called the ICCAs, which is the International Championships of Collegiate A cappella. That is the biggest award you can get in collegiate a cappella. And they're in the United States, they're in the UK, they're not in Canada. So we know that the Canadian groups have been going down to the US to compete. We also know that it's challenging. You've got 18 or 20 or 25 singers in your university a cappella group, and you've got to trek to the nearest place, wherever that is. I went with Anascatapia, which was the jazz a cappella group from University of Toronto years ago, and we went to New Jersey. Well, we've got to get them all there. We had to raise the money, and they all have to cross the border, and then they sing, and then they come back. It's a giant endeavor. So we saw that and said, well, there's no ICCAs in Canada. We need to do something very similar. So that's what we're doing with our competition this year. So that's a pivot for us, is to being competitive. We said we would never be competitive. We didn't want groups vying against each other. And yet we knew that somebody had to provide this opportunity. So we're the ones doing it, and there's been a tremendous response to it. And we're bringing the same judges. Deke Sharon is the biggest name in a cappella in the world. So we're bringing, great judges, and it's the same rubric. And the difference with ICCAs and what we're doing is, in the ICCAs, they get a trophy, and we're giving them cash prizes and a trophy. So we also know that these groups need a way to sustain. They need to pay their artistic directors. They need to pay their rangers, whatever, their facility rentals. So, we're offering to support in many different ways. So that's a pivot we're doing kind of internally this year without having to go further afield.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Pat.
Yeah.
Excellent. Does anybody else have any questions? And I see Debbie Mann from FEO with her hand up. Hi, Debbie.
Who are you? So I'm just curious, Pat, how long did it take you to, because I remember talking with you about going to Scotland. How long and how was the evolution of that? What was the outreach like? Because I'm so impressed by what you've done with Sing. And to go to Europe and across Canada and in Mexico, what was the evolution of that?
I think there's a cappella everywhere in the world. So we recognize that this genre fits, it crosses borders, it crosses language, it crosses cultures. It doesn't matter. In fact, Countermeasure, I'm going to brag about them. They just got back this week from Japan. They headlined a major international jazz festival in Japan, and they're not Japanese, but it doesn't matter. The Japanese loved them. They took the time to learn 2 songs in Japanese, which was fantastic. But the music transcends the borders. So I had been as a performer going to the Edinburgh Festival Fringe for many years with my group Sphere Clown Band, and also and I had said to Countermeasure, you should take a look at that. And when they got the opportunity to do their first foray into the UK with a tour, they then said, this is a great opportunity. Let's take a look at it. Well, we built it bigger. And then we reached out to other a cappella groups in Toronto and said, This is an opportunity. The world is watching. Edinburgh Festival Fringe is the marketplace for the world. This is where hundreds of presenters go to buy artists for their festivals anywhere it could be. So we talked to a number of a cappella groups here and said, if you can get funding, we can't pay for it. We can be your conduit and we can promote it, but we don't have the funds to pay you. But if you can get funding either on your own accord or from an arts council or wherever you get funding to go over and perform, we'll put the package together with a presenting house. The presenting house is called The Space. That's the name of the theater organization. I already had a relationship with Charles from The Space and said, what do you think about this? Can we have a piece of the Sing Festival in your facility? And he said, sure, if you can bring me the artists, I'll make it happen. So again, it's all about collaboration. It took a year of talking, and they agreed to dedicate some time to sing, and we were able to get artists were able to get funding, and we were able to work with the Canadian consulate to shine a light on that, because there were a lot of Canadian performers in Edinburgh at that time, and there's a booklet that they produce, and so we were able to be part of that, and all of that came together to really show off Canadian talent in the UK, and most of those groups got a lot more work out of it as a result.
So pretty much what you're saying, at least my interpretation of what you're saying, is share your ideas with your network, with people that you know, and you just don't know what's going to blossom from that. And they may have an idea for you that you didn't even think about, and vice versa. So yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Pat.
Absolutely. Texas happened because J.M. Erlandson was in conversation with a guy named John Hodges, who was the representative from the Contemporary A Cappella Society of America in Texas. And John said, I feel like I want to do something else here with a cappella. I want to go beyond. And JM said, well, why don't we produce a Sing Texas with you? So they started planning. It took a couple of years. We reached out to Economic Development in Toronto and said, would you support this? This is a great way to promote Canada in Austin. They had some funding available. We sent the nylons and the au pairs to Texas for this initial festival. They had art. We worked with a Canadian promoter who actually was at that time running the Long Center in Austin. And he said, well, I'm programming an a cappella group, Straight No Chaser. Let's make it a festival. And that's how that all came together. It's just a matter of talking to people. Talk continuously. You never know who has an idea of something they want to do until you ask or you throw it on the table. Brainstorming is the most powerful thing you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pat.
Wow, so much information, and I'm so appreciative of it. And I swear I'm going to corner you at the next conference and pick your brain some more. You've been fantastic, Pat. And Debbie, great questions to Peter as well. This has been some great information sharing, and I could keep you on all day, but I know you're very busy. And I appreciate that you squeeze this into your 12 hours of your event work that you do for Sing. I know that in the chat, because I got my mouse working, that the link to Sing, if you haven't been to the website before, you need to check it out. Jay has kindly put that in there for us. And I encourage you all, if you're in the area when it's happening, please go take pictures. Tell me all about it so that I can enjoy it vicariously through everybody
Next
else's
year.
experience.
SingToronto.com. Everything is on SingToronto.com.
Makes it very simple. On that note, Pat, I again thank you for your time today. Deb, Jay, and Dave for giving us all this opportunity to experience some expert advice through Festivals and Events Ontario from Pat of Sing. And for those of you that didn't attend but are watching post uploading to the internet, definitely, if you have any questions, reach out to any of us. We'd be happy to accommodate. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Well,
And
I'd like to let people know they're welcome to email me directly. Patricia, that's my first name, at singtoronto.com. I'm happy to engage, to be a sounding board, to share ideas. What we do is great, but the only way this stuff works if we share with each other, which is why we are a member of Festivals and Events Ontario. So we can share ideas. If you have an idea for us, please send it to us. If you want some help from us, please ask.
Wonderful. Thank you. And this is what I love to see. Festivals helping festivals, sharing our stories. It's like the old red-green thing. We're all in this together. Keep your stick on the ice, elbows up. And let's get those events going for the year. And please make use of these experts that you have access to, because why reinvent the wheel when somebody's probably already made it better? I know I am one that has learned that. So again, thank you, Pat. I will be connecting with you. I have a few ideas. And for the rest of you, feel free to reach out anytime. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thanks for listening to FEO on the Air, the voice of festivals and events in Ontario.